wanted to do a year-end video for our first year of homeschooling. This year would be our preschool year of homeschooling for my oldest. I want to talk about some hits and some misses and just, overall a review of the year of 2023 through 2024. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Donna, and I'm a stay-at-home mom to two boys, currently ages 5 and 3. On this channel, we talk a lot about homesteading in the city, and we share a ton of our family adventures. Here in Canada, it is called home education, but throughout this video, I'll interchange home education with the word homeschooling. To me, it means the same thing. You are educating your child at home. But if I was to label our style of home education, I would say we are like a go-with-the-flow kind of family right now, just with our journey so far in homeschooling and trying to find it. So we'd love to just find what interests my child, which is very much an unschooler's style of teaching. And then I do like to add some resources in, so I feel like we also have a touch of eclectic. This was my first year of really wanting to take on that teacher role for my child. I have another video where I talked about the things that I wanted to accomplish our first year for preschool. I can link that for you guys below. It's just more in depth, the hopes that I had for our first year of homeschooling, and with preschool being, just the first step into it and the first step into me being more of a teacher. I mean, like, my philosophy is definitely you are a teacher from zero forever, and I feel like you are the best teacher for your child because by the time they hit 5 years old, you have spent 10,000 hours with that person. So you are probably the most equipped person to teach them, in my philosophy. So I definitely felt empowered to teach my child and to, like I said, take on that teacher role. Because it was like preschool, I really wanted to let him still have time to be a kid, do lots of play. He is still rocking nap time on occasion, especially at the beginning, like in September of 2023, we would have nap time on and off. I apologize, I'm on my sun deck, so the background noise, if it's really bad, I'm really sorry. It's so nice outside. My sun deck is awesome and I love it. So anyway, so we were rocking nap time at the beginning of the year. Now we're coming to the end of the year and he is pretty much done nap time. It's kind of weird that my 5-year-old still will take a nap, but I am okay with that. If he needs a nap, I would rather him just take a nap. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. And so I wanted to have time to nap, to be a kid, to eat, to just explore. And really this year I wanted to take notice of the things that he was interested in and then find resources or talk about it more or just turn it more into a teaching and opportunity to learn more about that subject or that topic and dive into it. My worry with that is that because it's an unschooler's style of just following interests, that we wouldn't hit the core subjects. So I was kind of intimidated to only do an unschooler's style, which is why I feel like we have a touch of eclectic, because I utilize that for some of my core subject teaching, the math especially, and that's where the eclectic part of it comes in, is I'm just using the resources and maybe some curriculum that, it's not even really curriculum, but that's the word I'm going to use, to help influence and help fuel that so that we stay on top of just some of our basics. In terms of resources, I don't have a lot of resources I'm going to recommend. I've definitely kept it to a minimum. I've picked up a few things here and there, but really I've just used a lot of free resources around me. This year we also had a big focus on emotional stability and regulation, and I've just used some free resources for that, which I'll talk about later in this video, what I used for some of that, because I think that was really important. We really struggled with emotional regulation and finding techniques and tactics that would help us navigate through tantrums in some situations. And so I really wanted to focus on what can we do? What are the words and the verbiage that I can say to help navigate those, difficult situations. But ultimately this first year has really been about like listening to my child, figuring out ways and language and techniques and strategies to help teach him things and different things as we navigate different topics, and figure out what works best for him and for me, so that the two of us can kind of come as one and be able to learn together and totally find and discover like what he's into, seek that out, like how far can we take this interest. And I was absolutely floored with how much we learned together, the subjects and the topics that he was interested in, how far we dove into them, how long that interest stayed. An interest was awesome. Like we had space as one basically topic, and it was like 2.5 to 3 months of like everything space. He had a party space themed, like we went to the TELUS World of Science and just went to the space themed exhibit like I don't know how many times. I rented so many books space, like everything space it was crazy, and we learned a lot, and I think that was really cool that it was very interest led. Okay, let's talk core subjects first. Math. Now, I have a whole nother video on our math journey and basically getting to column addition at this point, but I want to basically just say, like, in a nutshell, math to me is a habit, and doing it every day has been pivotal for us to build that subject up. We don't have a ton of like resources right now. I am just using flashcards and a scribbler notebook that I write his math problems in. This is the first miss, I would say, was that I went out and I bought preschool math workbooks thinking this will be great. I can give him a workbook, he can work on it on his own, and I can be like, do 3 pages and then you're done. But he just like had zero interest in workbooks, and it doesn't seem to matter what kind of workbook it is, but like he just doesn't have any interest in doing it or completing it. It's not satisfactory to him. So it was such a waste. I mean, I'm glad I didn't waste a ton of money, because as soon as I figured out, I stopped buying them. But he just had no interest in math workbooks, and then I bought preschool ones, like I said, and now he's beyond that. So they're just gonna sit and wait for the next child, I guess. But he's just more interested in his notebook, and I write the problems down, or his dad writes the problems down, and then he does his math problems, and then he writes the date, and then he writes 25 numbers like in sequence. So I don't know, it works. It's very simple, and that's how math works in our house. Language arts and reading go hand in hand for me. It's all about reading for us right now. Every day we do reading. I taught him to read. That was like the first thing we wanted to like teach him, was how to read. So we started when he was like 3.5 or 3 3/4 or something like that. We started practicing to read every day. It was a bit of a grind, and some days he loved it, but it was definitely showcasing us that we could homeschool him. So that was like the first subject that we taught, was how to read. And now he can read books like crazy, and he's reading the signs and the buses as they drive past. So that's really cool. I love that he enjoys to read books to his brother, and we get him to read books to his dad or to family. So I just think it's very involving. I really encourage him to read things that he likes. So right now, we go to the library once a week and we pick up books, and I let him pick some that he's interested in, and sometimes I pick up ones that I think he'd be interested in, or the both of them. And just really encourage him to read the resources at the library, because they're free. But we did get books that are like things that he really enjoys. So he has some Star Wars books, which he absolutely is totally into Star Wars right now. That is the theme, Star Wars. And he got these readers that have been fantastic, and he enjoys reading and learning, all things Star Wars. So it's very appropriate. He's interested in it, and he's learning something. So it just goes hand in hand, right? I also want to point out a tip here, is that I find it really valuable that we got him readers that are age level appropriate, or readers that are his reading level appropriate. So he is like a level 1 or level 2. So having readers on hand that are his level is super valuable, because then I can be like, you need to get a reader that is level 1 or level 2, because otherwise if he has the choice, he's going to pick a super easy book sometimes that has like one word on the bottom, like ball, and it's like, that's not challenging for you. I want you to challenge yourself. So that is something that I find really helps us stay on top of our reading and advance it. In terms of how we taught him how to read, I did a whole video where we compared 2 books to like curriculum books, and the book that we ended up getting was How to Teach Your Child to Read in 20 Easy Lessons, and he really enjoyed it, and so I have that video below if you're interested to see like where he was at then and what his thoughts were about that book. It's really cute. In terms of read aloud time, we read a lot of books, but I have read 2 or 3 chapter books to him out loud, and he really enjoyed them. They both did. So that was a really neat step for us to go into more of a read aloud time. I find sometimes they really just enjoy it when I read out loud to them outside while they're swinging on the swings or while they're eating lunch. Sometimes I finish first and then I get some read aloud time in with them, and I find that's a really cool connection. We get to dive into more advanced story plots and talk about characters, or just different things that are going on in the stories. Further along this train of thought would be the writing portion, and my oldest doesn't really have much excitement or interest in writing, especially at the very beginning. Like this year, pretty much no writing. It's just very minimal writing. It's just like he had no interest. He just didn't want to, and I was okay with that. So I let it be. I was like, you know what? You're reading, and it'll just come when you're ready, and it totally has. And I'm so happy I just kind of let that one be, because now I find him writing, stories, or right now he's rock typing his rocks and he's writing it down. He's like writing copy work, like all on his own, and I'll find him, writing love letters to his dad for Father's Day, all on his own. And I think that is super cool that he has his own desire to write, and I'm not, forcing it in any way. He's just doing it. I do want to point out a miss here. I showed him where to get the nice printer white paper, because sometimes he would write and draw, so I felt like he needed the white paper. Anyway, I showed him where that is, and now he knows how to get it. So he always gets white paper instead of the cheap loose leaf with the lines. He's using all my fancy printer paper. Anyway, it's a small problem, I know. Social studies. Okay, social studies being like how to act in society and a little bit of geography. Society. Like, I just feel like how you live your life, teaching your child your values, taking time to explain social situations, that is social studies. Like, that is where we are at right now. How to make a friend, how to resolve a simple conflict, how to share. That to me is social studies right now, so I feel like that ties in with the emotional part of where we're gonna go. So I do feel like those two kind of swing back and forth right now, because that's just where my perspective is on social studies for a preschooler. They don't need to know politics yet, so we're not there. We're in like basics. So, and I feel like that is really just on my part, taking time to learn different strategies and tactics and even language, like how to talk to your child differently. So that is really pivotal to me, is that I learn some of those skills and then help teach him those skills, right? Because how I would handle a situation should be very similar to how I would want my child to handle the situation, I guess. And yeah, that's where that is at for social studies. I hope that makes sense. It's just very basic right now. I think social studies is also part of teaching your values, like your values as a person, as a family. I would totally recommend this if you haven't ever done it before, but is to write your last name as an acronym. So like ours is Baker, B-A-K-E-R, and we have a code. We have a Baker code of conduct. We have a Baker code, and that is what our family lives and strives to live by. It is something that me and my husband decided on, before children, and we have it on our wall, and this is something that it is the reason why we do what we do. It is the reason why we act how we act, and I find it a very useful thing that we did. Then I can point it to my children, and teaching them in situations like K for Baker stands for kindness. So when we are out, we are kind to other people, and we show kindness to other people, because that is who we are. That is what the Baker family is we are kind. And so I just found that being able to say that, it just rolled off so easily, because that is who I want to be, and that is who I want to, teach them to be as well. If that makes sense? So if you haven't done that before, I definitely would encourage you to take your last name, write your values, incorporate them in as a family motto or family chant or whatever, something to bring you all together, and it really helps explain why you act the way you act, or why you do the things you do, and how you can encourage your children to act and do the same. Geography, we actually have had a little bit of geography now that I think about it, because we travel to visit some family that live out of town. We have some family that lives in Nova Scotia. Shout out to you guys. And so we take a look on the map every once in a while. We talk about how far it is, that you have to get there by airplane. So just, bridging some of that gap with connections that are in their life currently, I think is super easy. We also travel to a family farm that teaches about a completely different lifestyle, expectations, caring for animals, and just the whole farm experience in itself. There's so much value in it. It also ties into science, which we're going to get into here next. So there's a lot of science at the farm as well. Watching things grow, looking at the animals, just all of it is science. I love it. I left science for last because it is so easy to do science all day long. I took science in university. I have a double major in chemistry and in biology, and I did a lot of botany, and I did a lot of inorganic chemistry. So I did lots of zoology and biology. So I really like science, and I think it's really cool. And so it's very easy for me to talk about science and find sciencey things to talk to him about. And he seems to also enjoy science, so that makes me happy. It's a good win-win for us. But this is a core subject where I feel like we can definitely unschool style this one, because he's interested, we follow an interest, I'm interested, and we just dive down this deep rabbit hole that branches off, and it's just awesome, and it's full of good little gems and stuff. So we did the solar system and space theme for a couple months. He's always been really interested in bugs, and so obviously with it being super nice outside, they're bug hunting all the time. We're looking up bugs, talking about bugs. This year we hatched butterflies for the first time and released them, so that was super cool, just to really dive a little bit deeper into metamorphosis and the life cycle of a butterfly, and the importance of being gentle and releasing them into nature and what they do for our backyard. It just all ties together really well, because science is also botany and gardening. It's all about plants. So bugs and plants go together. It's a perfect circle. So I definitely encourage my kids to do gardening and participate in the yard. We have backyard chickens, and so taking care of those pets is also part of our big science, caring for animal things. So I love my backyard chickens. Hi. Yeah. This is my baby. This is not my preschooler. Here's my baby. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to quickly talk about that. We also did some baking soda vinegar experiments, which if you're not a science person, baking soda vinegar is the easiest science experiment you can do. You can't go wrong, and it's awesome and it's exciting. So we did some of those when I've done it with both of them, but when my oldest was little, we did it, and it's kind of sparked his interest with experiments ever since then. So he got a toy called Beast Lab, which is basically a baking soda vinegar experiment all the time. And then he also did a crystal growing experiment, and I have that video as well, which was really cool. He's so fascinated with it. We did a whole bunch of crystals that we grew, and it turned out really well, and it was very easy. It's just a super saturated sugar solution and food coloring, so you can't go wrong. I did buy a book series from the Southwestern Advantage. I think you can get them online, but they were basically did you know books, and they ask questions and then they have the answers, and there was bugs and animals and plants and people and civilizations, and so it ties on a lot of a lot of topics across science and social studies, which I thought was really neat, and they're books that I definitely have utilized for some of our conversations and to like fuel some of those topics. Even the space one, they have a couple about space as well, and the earth, and yeah, so they were a really good resource, and I'm glad that we own them so we can just use them as we want. They're full of information, so I really like having something that's so full of information available at our fingertips. Science wise, I also love our local science center. Here it is called the TELUS World of Science. It is fantastic. It has a great space themed gallery. They just redid the used to be called like the body room, but now it's like, I forget what it's called. It's called the health zone now. The health zone. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was always called the body. I still think of it as the body room. But anyway, we make lots of trips to the science center. We have an annual membership there, and the kids really enjoy just going constantly, picking up little bits and pieces here and there. I think that's really cool. They have workshops and activities. We went to homeschoolers celebration day there. I really like that they had a day even for homeschoolers.
It's a car show.
Yeah, that's where you built your squeezy thing, your dog squeezy toy. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. The other things I want to touch on just briefly are music. The boys have jam night with Daddy, which I think is so cute. We didn't want to push like learning an instrument yet. I just don't think it's really my oldest's thing. This one is more interested in drums, so I'm sure he'll be the musician and the sports player. So we'll see how far that goes. But he does do like jam time, and he loves to sing, and I think that's really valuable and really special, and we've just kept it very light and really fun. I'm learning French through an app called Duolingo, which is just an app on my phone, and I have, we have some friends who speak French and some family who speaks French, so I just think it's going to be a really valuable language for him to learn in general. Plus it's on the back of every cereal box, so it's very easy to like slightly pick it up. And lastly, very last here is about emotional development and regulation. This, I feel like I said earlier, was what we really wanted to focus on, was learning communication tactics and, like I said, regulation tactics for those high stress situations that come up with having a preschooler, and just the roller coaster of emotions that comes with that in all kinds of situations. This was really important for me, is really important for our family, just making sure that me and my husband are on the same page with how we navigate situations, even to help teach our child things that would work, or try to help him with things that will work. So yeah, I spent a lot of time here. I want to talk only about 3 resource things that I did or have that really helped fuel this, and I think this was really important, more important than subjects and schoolwork and bookwork is emotional regulation, and that I really wanted to help teach and learn this. Obviously, I'm sure things are going to change. This isn't the be-all, end-all, but this is just what I have learned so far, and it was really, really valuable in helping me then transition and navigate home education and homeschooling. The first is a free resource called Kimochis. They have cute little characters, and they show the emotions, happy, sad, mad, but then it goes more in depth with frustrated, excited, fearful or shy, brave, and I really liked the expansion on the vocabulary. At first we were only talking happy, sad, mad, but then we were able to relate it to actually I am quite frustrated at this moment, and being able to like I said, expand that vocabulary, understand situations more deeply and emotions more deeply, being able to express my feelings and emotions in situations and help him have empathy, and that I could show him empathy for his feelings and emotions. And so this resource has been unequivocally useful and helpful. I've seen lots of people having a feelings board or page somewhere in their home for their child. Ours is located in his room, kind of under a desk area, and we've created a feelings corner. For a long time, really, it only had the Kimochis page. I just didn't want to bombard him with too much information and things and tactics. So I literally only put the Kimochi's page of the feelings there, and we've recently expanded and now have like a mood meter and a couple other things just to again expand his vocabulary, because we're kind of at that point where we're ready to talk about other words and other descriptive words for emotions. The next resource I really want to pinpoint was a book. I rented it from the library. It is called How to Talk So Little Kids Will Listen. This book had the most valuable tips and verbiage resource of all of the parenting books I read this year. I think I read like 5 or 6 parenting books at least this year alone, and some of them like I skimmed just because they weren't as interesting, so I'm not gonna lie. This one I got through about 3/4 of it, and then I had to return it back to the library. It was in very high demand, and I would highly recommend buying your own copy of this book. It was so good that I photocopied pages and have them taped in my bathroom, and I keep going back to them like in a high stress situation. Sometimes I need a breath, and I go to the bathroom and I read those words, and it really just like, okay, this is what I could say, or this is how I could navigate these situations differently, in a different way, in a better mindset, and it really has helped me like move forward in that emotional development with my child. And I love that. I love that feeling that we have like not necessarily tackled it, but we've tackled this one situation and we did it like pretty well, I feel like. So that book was just super good resource. And the last thing I did was that I took a course. It was a course called Handling Emotions. I was just like, I was up to here with the emotional tantrums, and I was really having a hard time like navigating how to go through it. And just being around other parents and other moms that were also struggling and didn't have it all together. And like, I guess it was helpful to know that I wasn't alone. And I want to, put this here at the end of this video that you are not alone. There are so many, situations that happen in my day. My life is not perfect. My children are not perfect. I am not perfect, and that's okay. And that is just part of life. And I think that, that being around other people and knowing that other people aren't perfect, maybe you only see the perfect sides on this side of the camera, but that we still struggle. We have struggles as a family. We are navigating things too, and that is, like I said, it's part of life, and know that you are not alone. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was not too long-winded for a year-end review. I'm sure like you could go more in depth all over the place. I tried to keep it just like as quick and fast as I could with the things that came to top of mind as I was thinking of our year end and like the things that we did and accomplished this year. I'm doing a bit of a mini series, like breaking out some of these subjects, and there are some other videos of the things that we have done this year. So I hope you will stick around and check out some of those other homeschooling videos. And let me know in the comments below if you are homeschooling or doing home education. If you are new here, we would love to have you subscribe to the community, and just thank you guys so much for watching.